It's Rachel Haskins with Ideally Crazy, and today I have another special guest.
Tiffany Eubanks-Graves.
This is Mrs. Tiffany Eubanks-Graves, and you guys know if I know the guest, I call them by what I know them. So this is my friend Tiffany. I've been knowing her since when I tell you I've been knowing her since my childhood. I've been knowing her since I would say maybe middle school all the way up. I even and we've been in each other's life on and off like my entire life. So somehow life always brings us back together.
Yes.
And Tiffany is one of the sweetest persons that I've ever met. What I appreciate about her is that she's sincere. You know, I've been all over the place. I've met a lot of people, and and I always tell people, I'm like, you can't tell me nothing about no woman because I can pick up stuff on women. But she is, you can trust her. Whatever she says, she means. She's good hearted. She's considerate. And what I respect about her is her mind, her point of view. I feel like she has such a wide range of a point of view. She doesn't just see things from one point, and I admire that about people. From her point of view, you can tell how her heart is, the size of her heart, and the position of her heart. Tiffany has a very big heart, and I understand that because I'm a passionate person myself. So that's one thing I like to do. So when she's posting on social media, I get to see I'm like, okay, here's Tiff. Because Tiff is she's a very caring, nurturing person. And she's like a solid friend. And I will tell you, that's hard to come by, especially in this day and age, but honestly, amongst women, anytime. You'll have a lot of associates, but people that you can call friend, like people that you know that they mean well for you, people you know that they not talking crazy about you behind your back. It's hard to find that, but Tiffany is one of those people. Everything that she loves with her whole heart. I love how she loves her family. And one thing about Tiffany, that's one thing I've known ever since I was a little girl, how much you love your
Yes.
family.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love how much she loves her family, and you know what family means to me. So I normally connect with people that have a lot of similarities with me. So I wanted to have her own because she has a family and another job because I still work my regular job too. But she's going into content creation and a few other things, and I want her to get out there and tell her story. I want y'all to get to meet Miss Tiffany because I mean Tiffany knows a lot of people, but some of you might not know her, and I want you to get to know the type of person she is, and she's a wonderful person.
Thank you.
So I'll let her tell you a little bit about her. I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself because she knows more about her than I do.
So, my name is Tiffany. I have 3 children. I'm married to my first love. Um, I am normally working in customer service. I'm very, very anal when it comes to customer service because I believe in treating people good, especially my people. I'm not even gonna lie. We gotta. I don't have problems complimenting people and seeing women and telling them they look beautiful today and all of that type of stuff because you don't never know what anybody goes through. But yes, I do have a huge family. I'm the 7th child of 7. I'm the baby. It's only one boy out of all of us, and we have the same parents, and they was trying to get boys, they got girls, so here we are.
Kept going and still got girls.
Yeah, I'm a pretty simple person, but I do feel like I walk to the beat of my own drum. Nothing I do is ever intentionally to hurt anybody. I'm a very empathetic person, and I do have a lot of compassion for people, and I have a lot of passion for people in general. So, like when we talk about content creating and stuff, when I first started doing content creating, Facebook asked me. When they started asking people and stuff, because you got a lot of friends, and because
Would you like to do
yeah,
this?
you post a lot. It changes though. Once you become a content creator, it's like Facebook starts to push your stuff away, and so it don't get communicated as much.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, it don't get communicated as
I
much.
feel the same way.
And they kind of want you on there all day.
All day.
All day.
I was wondering about that too.
You ever notice if you off for a couple of hours and all of a sudden ain't nobody commenting on stuff, they done pushed you to the bottom. That's what they happened.
I
pushed you.
I agree. I'm glad you said that. I hadn't really thought about
that's what it does.
Okay. Reason why she said that, when she said that, what it was, I used to get a whole lot more support, like when I was doing Holistic Living Girls Guide, but then I noticed that they wasn't, like you said, pushing my stuff as much, and I didn't know why, and I was like, and I don't have time to be on there all day. Like, I get on there, I interact with people, and then I literally have to hop out, but that does make sense, like, that you said that.
Yeah, they want that engagement all day long.
They want that,
and I can't do it. I got kids.
I wish. Like, when they stretching me a check for it, I do it. Look, I'll make it my priority.
I'm telling you.
So, y'all know I don't waste too much time. We're going to jump straight into the questions. We've known each other since childhood. How do you feel our upbringing and early years shaped the woman, wife, and mother you are today?
Trials and tribulations. I've learned a lot since children. There's some things I would change, but at the same time, I had to go through it. As you know, 21, gave birth to my first baby.
Yes, I remember.
And lost her the same day. That reshaped my whole life. I was in JCC going to school to be an ultrasound technician, and it literally rerouted me. I went through a deep depression. I didn't want to go and face the people at school because some people, well, when I was starting the show, it was going into spring. Okay. So school was letting out. So a lot of people did not know I was pregnant, but some people did. I couldn't face it, and it rerouted my life. But what it did was, when I did start to have children, it gave me a different type of understanding about my children. I'm very overprotective, and I make no apologies about it.
No.
Some people have a problem with that. You're overprotective. You call too much when the kids is over there. Well, be happy that I'm doing it. Because you lucky you even get my kids. You heard me? Like, I'm just saying. So, and then, like I said, my husband is my first love. We're not even gonna lie about stuff that happens with that. Trials and tribulations is what I can say. And if you can do it, do it. If you can't, if it ain't for you, no matter what avenue you went to get there, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But if it's something you can work on and then you can be fixed, because me and him, I met him when I was 12. Of course, we went through the bull.
Absolutely. I agree. Like, I absolutely, I can't look. I can't exactly say, but I know how much you love your children.
Yes, I do.
When she was pregnant with her first child, we were pregnant together. Do you remember that? And it hurt me because I wasn't even ready for a baby when I got pregnant with Latias. But it doesn't matter. Like, from the time that I found out about him, I loved him. That's why I always tell him. I be like, from the time I had never considered, and I wasn't planning on having no babies. You hear me? Because I like to run. But you heard me. But from the moment I found out about him, I loved him. And I'm very overprotective of my child, like you said. And I don't think mothers should. I mean, it's a horrible world. You should never apologize about being what God made you to be, especially for the people that you have to be there for. Right. And I say that I was talking to my son's father today about some stuff with my son, and I said to him, he's like, well, Rachel, he's 21, he's a man. I said, I don't care how old he is.
That's how it is.
I said, I'm going to see this thing through till it's through.
Right. I mean, Ty's about to be 18 in March. So, so I'm getting there, which my baby would have been 21 too, my baby, but Ty is about to turn 18 now, and she's like, Mama, I'm not really ready to grow up. Yeah.
And you don't have to, babe.
That's what I told her. That's what I told her. You gotta be firm.
You heard me?
Be home until you're ready to go out. I don't want you to go out if you're not prepared,
So. And there's always a room at my house.
Always.
And so that's what I told him today. I was like, and his response to me, because his response to me was okay. Because men know one thing I do love about men that are respectable men. They understand a mother's love, especially when they've been loved like a mother like it. Period. Like, because his mother is like loves him like it, so he understands. Like, ain't no giving up, ain't no letting go, ain't no backing up.
Right.
I would say we'll back up when it's time for us to back up, but until then, I'm gonna be right there.
They always need to know they got our support.
They have our support. Yes. We had so much fun growing up. Like, I always say, So I lived in the West End, and they lived at Newburgh. So I was like, I would be
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. I was one of the West End girls that hung out with all the Oklahoma girls, and they welcomed me. At first, you would have thought it wouldn't be, but when I tell you, just from the time I met Tiffany and all the rest of them, it just was like, you know what I'm saying? We would be everywhere doing everything.
We did.
Like it was like one of the. I had a really good teenage, growing up. Tiffany knows me well. She's been around me. Look, I cut up. I was busy, honey.
And we had fun.
We had fun. One thing about it.
We had a good
for sure.
years.
You hear me? I was gonna have a ball. Look,
Yes.
and so I appreciate what God planted me with people that were good-hearted people, because we see a lot of times nowadays girls will get with teenage girls and they mistreat them or they set them up and stuff like that, and I didn't have to worry about none of that. Not only that, they had my back. There's been times, I don't know if you remember, there's been times that I wasn't being shown in the best light, and I'm real honest, and I don't really know how to say stuff all the time to clean it up. So I just tell y'all the truth. I got in a fight at my church, and Tiffany was one of my friends that was up there, and that was in my early 20s. And I mean, I had to fight. I know that sounds crazy, but there were some people that was trying to jump me, and I had the better opportunity at that time because they were trying to surprise me, and I was able to catch it before when they didn't, where they couldn't surprise me, and I had my baby with me, so I had the advantage, and so I took the advantage point. But like I said, my friends that I've had, they've been with me with good times and bad times. And you know what I love about, especially Tiffany, they don't see me no differently. That's how love and that's how friendship is supposed to work. It doesn't matter. There's gonna be times you're not always gonna be your best self. But I always say that the people that know me, I want them to truly know me. I want to give you a choice of whether you want to be bothered with me. You know what I'm saying? I want to see, and the only way I can do that is by showing you my full authentic self. And I don't do it intentionally. I just be myself. Be myself. And so you attract the people that are for you to you.
Absolutely.
And because I'm that type of person, God has blessed me where I attract authentic people like Tiffany and stuff like that, because that's what I need in my life, because that's what type of person I am. You built a long and successful career as a customer service specialist. What lessons from that journey prepared you for stepping into social media content creation?
People are different. What I've realized for content creating, I'm gonna bring this lady up because she's the talk of the town right now.
Okay.
Peaches McIntyre.
Oh, I know Peaches.
So right now she's got everybody in an uproar.
What's going on?
Well, some lady that just beat cancer asked for prayer.
Okay.
And she went on a tirade about how she doesn't care about people on cancer. She don't give a nothing about nobody, but her family don't. She don't like poor people. Don't ask her nothing. Poor people get on her nerves. I mean, she went into a tirade.
Who said this?
Peaches McIntyre.
Our Peaches?
No,
okay,
no,
she's different.
I
know who Peaches. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't be. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I do know who Peaches is. Okay, I do know. I know the one that pays people to gets people to pay her to her. Yeah.
So that is great that it happened right now, because with customer service, you don't know who you gonna get on the phone. And most of my customer service career has been in medical. So it really don't matter sometimes how empathetic you are. Some people are not gonna be nice about things.
Okay.
That's what you have to learn with content creating.
There's
no way that you can have multiple conversations with different people and expect the same thing. It's almost as insane as making a post and only expecting people that agree with you to get on the post. And like I tell people all the time, everything that I do in content creating is natural. I'm not making up nothing. I'm not doing none of that to try to, if you like me, you like me. And if you don't, you don't. Most of my content is going to be about my kids.
So you just
I love them. I love my kids. They are funny. They crack me up all day, and I just be wanting to share the joy. I promise that's all it be. It'd be like, oh my gosh, let me post that. That's how it goes for me. So when it comes to my job as a customer service, that's what I could tell you is when it applies to content creating, that's what helps me is, and I am passionate. So when I talk passionate, so when I speak, people sometimes be thinking I'm getting angry. I'm like,
no, it's just actually
I'm absolutely not getting mad. I'm just telling you how I feel.
think.
And then people won't like you for it. That's another thing you got to remember. People will not like you when you have your own mind. And this is something that my husband had to understand. I said, well, when somebody tells me something, I don't just look at one way and then that's it. I have to look at every single avenue. And people can't stand it. I do it because everybody already made up their mind. Once they make up their mind, they don't want to hear nothing else. That's it. I'm like, well, hold on, but what about this, and that? And then they like, Tiffany, it's always you. I'm like, well, I mean,
I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm like, well, y'all can't just make up a thought and not think about the other things. How does that work? If you was like I said, I made a post not too long ago about my son in school.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it. The principal called and said he yelled out at a play. Okay. I said, okay, well, what he yelled out? He said he yelled out the N-word. Okay?
Okay.
That's what he said. So once I'm talking, I'm like, my son's an N-word? Well, I doubt that. So I'm like, put him on the phone. Put my baby on the phone, because I know my baby. He gets on the phone. He's like, Mama, I did yell out, but that ain't what I said. He said, I told them what I said. And he chose to believe a teacher. I said, also the person that said that you yelled at wasn't even there. He said, no. So I put him back on the phone and he's like, well, we trying to teach accountability. I said, yeah. Accountability works in so many ways. It's not just one. I say that all the time. Yeah, accountability is not just one-sided. I said, he has already admitted that he yelled out. He has already took full accountability, but he's not going to be accountable for what he did not do. That's what I teach my children. And with stuff that's going on in the world with teachers, principals, and all that, you cannot just call me and tell me something about my child. And then if I don't just automatically jump, then I'm one of those problem parents. I'm absolutely not a problem parent. My kid knows when you go out here, it's to represent me. Absolutely. And your father. Absolutely. Don't go out here and make these people think you ain't got no home training. Absolutely. And because my kids are very respectful. They manners. I'm talking about they see you, hey, how's your day? Did you sleep good? Sweet. Conversational. Yeah. So that's how they talk to people. That's it. So
I completely agree. And as somebody who has one thing, I watched my mother go through it with my brother. And even when you have a black male in school, there are certain things that I'm not saying that as an excuse just because they black men. No, I promise you, they don't get the same opportunities. It's like the system is built to beat them down. So the first thing I was really happy when I heard you say is that he took up for himself. Because some children, what you don't understand, like some little boys, they won't even speak up. After they got in trouble, they won't say, I didn't say that. They'll just sit there. Because they feel like they've already, they've been judged and it's judge, jury, it's over. They've been convicted. And so they won't say, hey, I did yell, but that's not what I said. They'll just sit there and kind of like close down. And so that's what you have to understand about some of them. So I'm happy that your son, one thing I always say is ask your children. I don't care who it is. I don't care what situation it is. If it's a situation at church, you can't, church people lie too. I don't care who it is. You should I always tell people, you don't let nothing break up what's on the inside. So within your home, God doesn't mean for you to let somebody come in and destroy what's in your home, and you protect everything that's in that. And so with your family, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that everybody does. But I'm definitely going to hear their side of the story before I just let you say and do anything that you want to. And even after I hear your side of the story, what I used to tell them, I said, I want you to understand one thing. I'm on his side. Because that's the thing. This is my child. And like you said, my kids are very mannerable. I tell people all the time, my neighbors love my son. I'm talking about I ask about him when he's at school. The women at the church, they love my son. His teachers love him. But is he busy? Absolutely. There are certain things that he does that like you said, when the teacher says he did it, I know he did it. I'm like, girl. And then there are certain things I'm like, Because, like you said, I'm with my kids all the time. So, and a mother knows. We know little stuff that our kids do. It don't sound, it don't really sound like him. Our part of it sounds like him. And the other part, no, because I know he knows a little bit better. And it's not the kid. And then what I always do, like you said, I always try to let my kids know that I'm on your side. We might have to correct the action, but it ain't no going against you, baby. I'm going to make sure that you have the necessary resources and that I teach you how to behave. So, because I do want to create people in this society that not only help the society, but they're peaceable to live amongst and around, and with. And so I completely agree with that. Like, and with customer service, as a registered nurse, you know, especially bedside, and even in my in the leadership role that I've had, and even with my concierge nursing business, everybody, like, for instance, I remember in Miami, I have a bright, bubbly personality, and I had all my patients, it was fine, but all their families, I had one, and I could tell it was too much for her. Like, and I wasn't overdoing it, I was just being myself, but I wasn't what she needed. And so she didn't respond to it the way that other people responded to it. And I wasn't offended by it because I understand people's personality. Maybe she just didn't want that.
You have to learn that in customer service to understand it.
It's okay. And I was like, it's okay. And so what I tried to do, like, it's hard for me to be something else, but I tried to be less or more, you know, less of what it was, and try to be more of what it is that she needs. So customer service is one of those things where it will literally grow you because you're constantly like moving and trying to adjust to what that customer needs. And like you said, on social media content, people do not always agree with your opinion. I thought to myself, like, I posted that thing about that boy that was killed at K-State because my son went to that, and he had goes to K-State, and he had told me a little bit about that. Now, surely I thought, I don't condemn anybody. So I wasn't condemning the man. I don't really talk about stuff that I don't want to talk about. So I wasn't condemning the parent, but what I was saying is be considerate of the parents who actually lost their child. And you would have thought that would have been okay, where everybody would be like, well, I understand, we would be considerate of any parent that lost their child. You would think. But people are not like it. People are so sick and twisted in their minds that, and it's the same parents that are talking about, oh my God, he was a bully. The problem was, what they didn't understand is that child wasn't even the bully.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't even the bully.
Wasn't. And I tried to tell people
and people didn't understand
and nobody
that.
was trying to hear me. I was like, listen, I have peoples that go to K-State.
My son knows
that child
everything.
was not the one, but okay, I'm not gonna keep arguing with
y'all about. They don't want to hear.
You know what I'm saying? I said the same thing, but I left it alone.
You have to leave it alone because people, because like you said, most people don't want you to open their mindsets.
Once the news get a hold
of it,
it's over anyway.
But what I want to bring y'all attention to, some of y'all are too foolish to understand this, is had that man killed a little white boy on a PWI, he would have never seen the daylight again.
It would have been there for him.
So y'all so foolish and y'all so worried about bullying. And that's what they do. That's what the media does. It'll distract you by convincing you to kill and hunt down your own. Foolish.
Because you heard many people say, well, I would have did the same thing.
I would have did the same.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's my case.
Now if I had to do it, I can understand it, but I would still feel terrible that a child lost their life because it's a child.
Because it's a child.
When you are an empathetic person, like I said, you can still see every side of it.
You can see every side of it.
You always trying to see the good in people. I said, it ain't that I'm trying to see it. I can't see it. I said, there's even bad people got a good side. I said, when you think about it, no matter how much evil a person may be, somebody loves them so much. Somebody think they the best person, because guess what? They are the best person
to them. I kid you not.
They are the best person to them. And I'm not a perfect person. It might be a person that say, you just said I was a good friend. It might be somebody like, no, she's not.
Just depending on their perspective.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody got different perspectives, and like I told my old job, because this is the thing too about customer service. You ain't gonna be perfect in customer service. No. You're gonna have a day where somebody's gonna rub you the wrong way, and you're gonna say something wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when you try to act like you didn't do it. Now, I don't do that. That's one thing I can say, is that when I go out of order, I'm like, it's kind of bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a coaching. This is a coaching opportunity, because you let me listen to it, and that sounded bad.
Right.
But if I don't agree, you can't tell me how I was being.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I always say it too.
Well, I perceived it, and then when I say, well, I perceived, and you say, well, I don't see how you perceived it. Well, guess what? You can't tell people how to perceive it. Perception is yours. And
perception is yours.
So,
absolutely. Because I always know that I say my mother's a therapist. You can't tell people how they feel, and you don't know how they feel. They have to tell you. And a lot of times with us, there are times, like you said, even with myself, and sometimes in customer service, like when people get to talking real reckless, I've been called the N word, and does that sit well? But it don't never sit well with me. That's something that don't never. So if y'all want, does that ever sit with that? That doesn't never sit well with me. I've been called the N word, and somebody literally pulled my hair. I got him above me. He was happy to turn me loose, but literally pulled my hair. Honey, when he grabbed it, I said,
No,
I don't play that. I do not play that. He turned me loose, and I thank God for how he worked in my favor, because the man's son came in who was also a nurse, and he said he apologized to me. He was really angry at his father. I think his father had been an evil man all along, and so he said she should have shot you. No, I don't carry a gun to work. Said I would never shoot a patient, but I was like, I don't think it was that intense. Right. But that man, from the story I heard, it was he used to beat that man's mother, and so they were really apologetic to me, and it was in a hospital in Frankfurt where I was like one of the only ones. And I went through a lot of abuse and a lot of negativity down there. And I thank God, because he shielded me from it, because I probably would have reacted a lot differently. Hey, you know how sometimes you'll go through something and then not until after you be like, oh, they was trying to harm me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I left, they told me, oh, you're such a good person, this, that, and the other. And it's so weird. Like, why do I have to be mistreated? Why do I have to? They literally left me in that room with that man after he had pulled my hair. They left me in the room with that man because he couldn't be left alone. And so I had to stay with him, because after he had pulled my hair and called me a nigga, the reason why I was in the room in the first place was because his oxygen stats would drop every time his oxygen came out his nose. So in order to keep and he wasn't confused, he was just ridiculous. I'm talking about it would go down. I had to stay in the room. After they knew he had assaulted me, they still left me in the room with him. So when I tell you, when Black women are speaking about how they are mistreated in the workplace and how they are treated, we're not making up those stories. And most of us don't even want to bring them out, because y'all have already made us feel like, oh, here they go.
The race card.
We pulling a race card. Here they go again. But I'm not talking about what my mama went through. He pulled my hair. Right. He called me the N-word. Right. That actually happened. And even when I worked at the hospital, I'm going to tell on y'all. That's one thing about me. Don't mistreat me, because I'm going to put y'all on here. When I worked at a hospital and it was Baptist in Lexington, and they were very racist, accused me of doing some things that I didn't do. And then they tested me, and when they tested me, it came back clean, and they were upset about it. But one thing about it, they can't stand with Black women once we prove what we said. They just trying to pull you down. And so even after that, and I had my recruiter said to me, he said, Rachel, he said, honestly, he said, I've never seen racism like this. He said, but I cannot deny this is nothing else. He said, I'm going to be honest with you. Awful. He said, I really didn't think this kind of stuff exists. He literally said that to me. He said, but now after dealing with you, he said that I can't say this is nothing else. And so even with that circumstance, I said, well, God, thank you. I said, because now there's another party that knows that we're not making it up, because he had to deal with it. And he said, he said, I can't label it anything else. And he apologized to me, but I thank God for keeping me. And I thank God for going through all those situations with me, because customer service is so different. Because like she said, no matter what it is, whether it's on social media, whether it's like on the phone, whether it's in the workplace, everybody is not going to come across the same. And that part is difficult.
And I'm not going to lie to you, because even the job that I just left, I just secured a new job today. Thank God.
Congratulations.
But the job that I was working at, the reason why I was let go was off of disrespect. And I felt like I'm a grown Black woman, okay? I was a scheduler, so I have to speak to people in other offices. That's not a problem with me.
Absolutely.
But there's absolutely no reason for you to be disrespectful to me. I called over asking to find out where the lab is. She told me just put a note in. I said, okay. But I still want to know where the labs was. It was just my curiosity at that point.
I need to know.
You know what I got back? I'm not about to go back and forth with you today, Tiffany. I said, excuse me?
That's a question.
I said, well, what would you have to go back and forth with me for? I said, what's going on with you today? You know what I'm saying?
Are you okay?
I said, the question I asked you was a yes or no question. Do you know where the labs are? She said, yeah. I said, okay, where are the labs at? She told me. I said, that's all you had to say. I said, because the question I asked you was yes or no, but now we're going to change the channel. Sweetheart, that was the end of the call. I lost my job for that. I said, so she can talk to me any kind of way, and then because I responded, I wasn't even rude to her.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I responded to her, and y'all didn't like my response. Then this is the same girl that I'm sitting here telling y'all, every time I call, I'm getting pushback. I can't do my job. Y'all saying number one is the patients, but when we coming in this office, we more talking about the office. I said, she was giving me a hard time. I'm trying to help a patient. It was an urgent call. Y'all literally didn't even care about what she said. And because I had been rolled up before because the same girl.
Same girl.
But this is the crazy part. I'm bringing it to their attention. This ain't a call they happen to be coaching or listening to. It's me, hey, I need y'all to talk to this girl because she's rude and she's keeping me from doing my job. Okay, well then they listen to the call with Tiffany. You shouldn't have said, I should have said on the back. Listen, let me tell y'all, I'm a grown woman. She's a young white girl.
That's what that means.
And you asking me to just allow her to disrespect me just because it doesn't make sense what y'all saying to me.
And that's what they don't even want us talking back to them. And honey, I always say, like, I had a meeting with the job that I'm in now, and a lot of times what they do is try to do a lot of pressure, and they try to make you do something that you're not able to do. One thing, if I'm able to, they pick. And if I'm able to do it, I will absolutely do it. If I'm not able, I cannot do it, and I will not do it. And then they'll try to control you. But one thing about it, I kind of laugh about it because my mama ain't never been able to control me. You know what I'm saying? Once Rachel's decided.
Y'all string, you got that from your mom.
Yeah, and I got that from my mama.
Yes.
Like, you can believe that, like you can believe in Jesus. And I promise you're not going to take it as far as me. And one thing about Rachel don't have no problem with suing. Have before. We'll do again. So that's the thing. I don't want to do that, but when you don't, I always say the only thing that really gets people's attention is money. So I always say, write down, notate every single thing that you do. I always try to show up. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be a menace to you, because that's not what I'm here to do. I always want to get along. I'm always willing to put my front foot forward. That's why when I have to take extreme measures, that's why I've had to take extreme measures, because I've done everything I know to do. And then not only that, I am a Christian. So I can't hold grudges against you. I have to show up every time in forgiveness. I have to show up every time willing to work with you no matter what. So by the time you doing what you're doing, I know for a fact that it's uncalled for because I've done what I need to do on my part. So when I have to do, that's the only thing. Sometimes us as Christians and saints, we think we're supposed to just let it go. God didn't tell you that. He said, do right. Once you do right and they don't do it, there's processes that you go through when people don't do right to take care of that. But like she said, a lot of times they don't even want you to say anything back to them. And I always talk back. I mean, I used to get my face, I would smack, my mouth smacked hard, and I would still say stuff back. And my mama never played that. You know what I'm saying? Never played back. So I don't know why you would think I would let any person, like you said, I'm an adult woman and slavery is over. Why would I not use my mouth? Why would I not use my powerful tool? And I don't have, like, I'm one of the people, I don't have to cuss you out or nothing. I don't have to use one cuss word. But I just, people hate when you talk about the truth. You don't have to lie on people. Tell the truth. That's going to anger them far more than anything else.
Absolutely.
And what I will say is, with stuff like that, don't worry. A lot of times if God doesn't move them and he moves you, it's because he's putting you in a better position.
Oh, I know that.
So I thank him for your new position. I hope that it's peaceful. I hope that when you get in there, it flows like, butter. I hope that when y'all get together that, you know what I'm saying, that it just, like, they become family to you. Because there are workplaces, like when I miss y'all, I love y'all. Norton's downtown. Former RS, I miss y'all so much. But there are places where those people feel like family, and God can give it to you. But he's not done with them. He don't let them get off with that. And a lot of times, what I love about God is, even when he moves you, he will somehow, some way, he'll let word get back to you. You don't have to go looking for it. Somebody will call you. Somebody will text you out of nowhere and let you know how God's dealt with something on your behalf. And when I tell you he don't play no games about his children, he don't play no games about his children.
Especially people with good intent.
Especially people with good intent.
I tell my husband all this time, we talk about so much different stuff, it's crazy. Karma's one of them. Karma is a big word. And he be like, Tiffany, you really think everybody means they karma? I said, well, intent makes the difference on karma. I said intent makes all the difference on what type of karma you receive. It does not mean that if you did something bad, you're not going to receive a lesson.
Exactly.
But it might not be as tough as if you was doing that to
And
hurt
you knew
someone.
better.
So that everybody has to learn a lesson from something that they did, whether they did it on purpose or not. I said, but when you don't do it when intentions are hurting someone, your karma, it's going to come back to you, but it ain't going to be the same. It's going to come in the form of a lesson.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to ruin your life.
It's not, right.
Yeah, you ain't going to be sent back, I shouldn't have did this because you didn't know you did it.
Yeah,
you weren't trying to do that.
You weren't trying to do it.
I say intent makes the difference in karma. So when I tell people I believe karma to a certain extent, they think I'm saying I don't believe it exists. I do. But you got to be careful. Quit just thinking that somebody did something to you and now something's going to happen to them. Well, it just depends because when they did something to you, what was their intentions on it? You know, it's a lot of time I get misunderstood all the time. Like I tell people, I might, my intentions might be one way, you take it that way. All I can do is hope that you know that I wasn't trying to hurt you. You see what I'm saying?
That's why I would never do anything to hurt you. That's one intentionally hurt. I would never intentionally hurt you. I'm one of the people I do not bother. If I can't help you, I'm gonna leave you alone. If you someone that I don't really care about, I'll stay away from you. But I don't never intentionally hurt, and I completely agree with you because sometimes people do not know. They might not have been taught that different, or they might not consider it. And what I always say, even with God, is that people know the what, God knows the why. And I think that's what. And when I say about that why, there are certain things that might be going on that you don't know about, and sometimes people are having to make a hard decision. Let's say neither decision is right, but they're doing the best that they know, and they, from the logic that they, reasoned out in their head. And so that's going to be different than somebody who's like, I don't care about nobody. I don't do, you know what I'm saying? They're going to do what they want to do. That's going to be different than that person.
It's going to come back. Because you got to feel that.
Yeah.
So you can see what you're doing.
So you can
see
what you're doing.
Other people feel.
So you can see what you, and then, like you said, one thing I always say to the Lord, I don't got to be right. I just want to be right with you. So if I'm wrong, help me do what's right. And that's one thing that keeps me treating people right. I'm not holding grudges because I know I always say God's my boss and don't nothing move unless it move through him. So I know I got to be right with him. So I do my best to be right with you. And so it doesn't mean that I don't mess up sometimes and I have to ask for forgiveness. But at the same time, intent behind it, I will never intentionally hurt you. And because I know who my boss is.
Facts. I get it.
Faith often anchors us through change. How has your faith guided you through marriage, motherhood, and reinventing yourself in this new season?
Okay, so I spoke on a little bit of it when I said that, my husband, we went through this and that. One thing that I realized that you definitely got to learn, faith plays a part in everything, for one. Ego. That's what carries me is faith. Like I said, even if I'm so down and I just have a little bit, is what carries me through because I do not like to be low vibrational. I don't like to have low energy. I am typically a happy person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm also can go 1 to 100 real quick depending on how you treat me. You see what I'm saying? But like faith, like I said, I had to have faith when I lost my child. When it first happened, it was hard to go to baby showers. It was hard to think I was gonna have another baby, and then people that haven't experienced, they don't know how to speak to you, and they say crazy stuff like, "You can have another baby," and you be like,
"But this was a person.
This was my baby." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what you mean? But
it won't be this person.
Yeah, and that's where I gotta be like, okay, God, I'm gonna talk to you because I don't want to say nothing wrong to nobody. You gotta keep these people away from me right now.
Absolutely.
And saying certain stuff like this because I know that they don't mean anything bad. But like I said, faith, with me losing my job, I was out of work almost 4 months. And the way that the world looked like it was going,
I'm telling you.
I talked to God every day. And Rachel, I said, and I got angry.
Yeah, I get angry. That's why I said get angry.
And I got scared for getting angry.
Yeah.
I said, Ramon, I wonder if God is mad at me. He said,
No.
I said, because man, I went off on him earlier today.
I do
and
it.
He said, what you talking about? I said, Ramon, I said, I have been working my whole life since I was 16 years old. I said, I'm passionate about my job. I said, I'm A1 in customer service. I said, can't nobody tell me nothing. I know how it goes. I know how you supposed to respond.
Because you're intentional about it too.
Yeah, I said, I know how you respond. I'm quick. I go through a drive-through. You can go ahead and order. I drive right off. I'm not with it. So it's like I've had so much experience in years in this. God, what are you doing with me? You know, because I've had some trials and tribulations that took me through other routes. I should be an ultrasound technician making all kinds of money in a house. That's what I go through. Because I'm like, why did I stop? And then I stopped for so long. When I have to think about it, Tiffany, you know how many times you went to school? You ain't just sit down and not do nothing.
Exactly.
And at the same time that you're doing this, you working 8 hours, you taking care of children.
Kids.
You cooking, you doing the laundry, you cleaning. You're not just sitting around just letting
You have
your
to talk
life
to
pass by
yourself.
because people, because you've had to use the government or for this or for that. And then it's like, and then I think that I have friends and ex-friends that are doing so well and I'm so proud of them. I wanted to be next to them, I ain't gonna lie. But I wanted them to be next to me too for whatever reason that did not work out. But I still have faith that I'm gonna always be,
absolutely,
because I've always been a late bloomer. I say it all the time. I'm the 7th child. My mama was 38 when she had me.
I believe it.
My older sister's 63. I'm 42. If that tells you anything, I've always been a late bloomer, so things tend to happen for me late.
A little bit later.
And I keep in faith that that's all that's going on now. Tiffany, you used to this, girl. You used to not doing it when everybody else does shit. I was the last person to have babies.
Absolutely.
My youngest is 6. Sit there and said, when I get older, I ain't having no babies in my 30s like my mama had me. She was 38. And my last child was born when I was 36.
And that's why you should have hushed your baby.
I should have shut my mouth. But he's everything to me. He's a joy.
That's what I'm saying. And God don't make no mistakes. He know what you needed. And I completely agree with several things that you said. One thing, like you said, with faith, like sometimes God will put you in a position you ain't got no choice to have faith. And you just like, but it will make you angry. And so, and I'm so glad I brought her on there because Tiffany is just herself, and that's what people need. Before we got on her, I said everybody's voice needs to be. I said you're gonna speak to somebody who needs to hear you, and I have been one of those people that when she says get angry with God, I have yelled, and like she said, I have yelled. I'd be like, where are you? Like screaming, howling,
Man.
like I'd be like, listen, when I had this. He made sure I had what I needed. He's a man. I know you're supposed to do it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Do this, talking to him. But God knows, Jesus came down here. So and the Bible says there's no emotion that we feel that he has not felt. He understands and he loves us. And what you have to think about it, just like us, we are his children. Now, it's pretty nothing. I don't know nothing my children can do that I'm not going to forgive them for. I love them with all of me. They are me. And that's and he loves us more than we love them. Think about how much you love your children. He loves us more than that. That's hard. You can't even think about that if you love your children like we love our children.
Dude, when you learn that it was protection.
It was protection.
Because when I tell you, I know that about so much stuff. It was protection.
It was protection.
And when you first heard, you be like, whatever. Don't y'all, because you wanted it so good. You don't want to hear that. What you mean he was protecting me? How is he protecting me? And I went home in pain. I'm crying and I'm blah, blah, blah. And then time go by and certain things happen and this goes this way. And things you don't ever.
Thank you, God.
Yeah, you don't expect it to go. And then it's like, oh, for real? Oh, thank you for opening my eyes and making sure I seen that because I almost missed it.
I almost missed every single time I didn't get what I wanted. I'm always grateful. If you give it a little time to play out, I'm always grateful. Not only this, he gives me something better. He gives me, or even if it's something that I want and it's not ready for me yet, he waits till it's ready for me. And so I thank God for that because it hasn't been one time. And then I always say that we ask for forgiveness. God is not angry for you. From the first time you ask him forgiveness, it don't matter what it was. It don't matter how horrible it was. It doesn't matter what it was. The first time you asked him for forgiveness, he forgives you. And the Bible says not only does he forgive you, that he throws it in the sea of forgetfulness. And I think sometimes people become bitter because they really do believe that God is still angry with them. And so they're angry with themselves. And the problem is the only
life ain't going
you hear me? God is not angry with you. And it's important that you know that. Because once you realize that he ain't angry at you, then you start thinking in that other term that his will is to bless you, that he wants and to prosper you and to see you do well. It ain't nothing that you done that he ain't seen done before. He didn't know what's gonna happen. He didn't know that you was gonna do it. So faith is a roller coaster and it will take you on a ride. And like she said, when people are talking, I try to go over a little etiquette with y'all because sometimes I don't understand why y'all don't know what to say. My mama always said, and my grand, if you don't know what to say, don't say nothing
At all.
When somebody loses somebody, they don't want to hear they're in a better place. That may be true. But right now, I want them here with me. It just happened. Like, that's another thing. Quit trying to rush people through grieving. I don't like it. Give them time to process it. And they process it. What you do is when you pray, because that's the only thing you can really offer that person. You can't give what they missing back. So that's really all you can offer. And when they tell you, check on them. And when they tell you what they need, you do that. But don't watch your words with people. Don't rush them through a grieving process. That's one of the things I can't stand. And sometimes when people say stuff, I be disgusted because I be like, shut up.
Somebody told me I had to get over it. You need to get over it. I said,
how you gonna tell somebody they got to get over their own baby?
I said, I said, are you serious? You don't get over your child. I said, I might be able to cope with this better.
Be peaceable.
I said, but this ain't something you get over, baby. I've been to therapy
and everything. I'm doing everything I can do.
What are you talking about, lady? I've been on medicine over this.
Everything. It changed the trajectory of my life.
It literally did. That's why I'm like,
so
people really don't understand. Like, it really did. It literally changed the depression, stress, and all of that. Really puts you somewhere else. And I had a whole bout with it. You know, I started working at City Cards. I was being a bill collector then. Bill collecting.
So you know it was a rough job.
Talking about getting cussed out and being the N-word and everything. I done been told to do this and do that. All kinds of crazy stuff. And I started that job a year after I lost my child. So it's like,
you already in a space and then you
got
to hear that every single day.
Yeah, and then somebody's telling you need to stop grieving. And it's just like, lady. It was a lady that said it. I was like, no, ma'am. Like, all I need you to do for me is be there for me. I don't need nobody to tell me how to grieve because you can't. And like I said, I could go from 1 to 100. I could be the sweetest person, but you say something wrong.
Say that wrong trigger.
And you gonna see where I can go. But
I always say Monique. I always separate myself. I said there's Rachel and then there's Monique. I said that I don't even like Monique sometimes. I tell my parents. I said sometimes when Monique gets in control, I said think of it as like being in a vehicle. I said it's like at most of the time Rachel's in the driver's seat. I said, but when Monique gets in the driver's seat, I said Rachel's Rachel's in the passenger seat. Like, as a wife and a mom, how do you balance family life with pursuing personal growth and creative expression online?
Well, like I said, I got 3 little ones. Well, 3 kids. My oldest is 17. So it's really, really, it can be hard sometimes because like I said, there's a lot of things that I want to do with myself that I also want to spill over to my children.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I've always worked and stuff. So, you know, they see the good work ethic and all of that, but I want them to be happy and I want them to see me happy.
Absolutely.
So, we do things together. We try to make sure we have times where we watch movies and we go out to eat or we do anything to try to make sure we got family time because my husband works 5 days a week, like normal, of course, and then kids going to school, which he doesn't work the same days as school. So we got to try to fit in them times. When we go to the movies, you know, we just like to make sure we doing everything with our children. In April, we went to Disney World. My brother, my brother does Disney World.
Okay.
So they got the largest agency for Disney World, and he took us. So we do it. We just try to do stuff together as far as balancing my family life. I do want to write.
Do it.
And that's the only thing I think that I'm having a hard time when I am trying to balance it, because and I'm getting jealous a little bit. Not envious, y'all, jealous. And I'm happy for y'all. I have a few people in my life that have written books, and I am so proud of them. And there I am, like, hey, here I go. Being a late bloomer again, being the one behind. I've been talking about reading the book. I've even wrote a chapter.
Listen,
2 or 3 years ago. It's just still sitting there.
I was listening to something. It said God will cause you to get jealous to push you into your journey. So write that book.
I am, and my husband's gonna do it with me.
Yes,
We're gonna do it together, because
even that is for a reason. To say, because
Yes.
it does. It's like I could be, and normally that's what it does. It jumps on you, be like, I can do it, and and then you do it.
I'm very proud though.
And like you said, I want my kids to see me happy. I always say that. I told my mom the other day, I was like, I kind of wish I was a little bit more intentional while they were growing up. I accept things that how they are, how it is, and I know God is working. But about being in a relationship, I said, because I was so worried about somebody hurting my children that I was just like, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Shoot, you gotta worry about that.
But you gotta worry about it. And I said, and it happened like it happened. But I said, but at the same time, I was, because, and it wasn't just because I was worried about people molesting them and stuff like that, which was a big concern with me, or beating them. But even my happiness, I didn't want to be with a man in a household and I'm yelling and screaming at him in front of my kids. I didn't want them to grow up around stuff like that. I didn't grow up around stuff like that, and I didn't want that to affect them. And so I knew that like that could happen. And I didn't want, like you said, I wanted to give my kids the best of whatever I had. Have I been a perfect parent? Absolutely not. But there's some things that they've never seen happen in my household. And I thank God for that. Sometimes my son, they'll be like, where did you get married? I'm like, well, I didn't, I could have been a little bit more intentional about it, but it just didn't happen for me. It hasn't happened for me yet. But at the same time, I've been an awesome mom. And, and that's what my kids are getting. My kids love me down and I love them down. And so I thank God for everything and just accepting everything. And like, even with my growth, letting them watch me hustle hard, letting them watch me go after the things I want. Involving them in that. I try, like you said, I like to spend a lot of family time. Sometimes on Saturdays, like, with Israel, I can't, my son, and he'll be 21, so he'll be 21, and me and his bonus mom wanted to take him out of town, and he didn't want to go with us. I wonder why. But he might not want to kick it with us as much. He'll do it sometimes just to appease me, because boys are so sweet to their mommies. But like Israel, sometimes it's just taking a drive. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll go, because little mama loves to eat. I don't care how little she is. That's the only thing she get upset about too. Is her eating his food. Yeah.
That's my boy.
That's how she is. And so sometimes it's just a little quick drive, but just being very intentional about that. And anything you're intentional about, it'll go over well.
But that's what I learned about you, because what I did notice is that you and Big Tez and Christy, y'all do really well together.
Thank you.
And that is to be admired. And that's going to show, I believe that's going to show your children so much, because so many relationships are toxic. And I have the pleasure of saying that me and Ty's daddy and his children's mothers,
you've always been really sweet and got along with them.
No.
Well, I'm talking about the kids, though.
Now the mamas, we didn't start out like that. We're not gonna lie about that. But the way we are now, I love them. Yeah, I really do. I talk to them. I love their kids still. We don't.
You always love their kids.
Yeah, I've always loved the kids.
That's how
I don't change.
We don't play about no kids.
Yeah, I'm not to break up with you and forget your kids. No, I still love them kids. Those are still my babies.
That's pretty.
And Deasia, she's married and having babies now, so it's
video girl.
Yes, and so
goodness, married and having babies.
So I think that's important, though. My children got to see me have a relationship with the mothers of, you know what I'm saying? Because me and Christy went out of town. We went out of town for our birthday one year.
I know, that's right.
We had a ball. But I think that's important for kids to see that it doesn't have to be what you see on TV, because for one, it may seem like it's so many more, but there's a lot more people that have good working relationships than they portray. And so I'm just proud to be able to show my kids that we don't hate people. And we're not gonna be arguing just because they got a baby with somebody got a baby with. That don't make a person your enemy.
No, exactly.
Does not make a person your enemy, even if it started out that way. You have to learn and you have to grow up.
You have to grow.
And when you grow up, all of that.
And it's not important. At the grand scheme of things, it's not important. And like you said, and thank you for the compliment, but everything might not work out like you planned. I always tell people that love your child more than if you really love that child. People always say, I love my child, but really how you show up kind of shows how you love that child.
Yeah.
And maybe you haven't thought about it that way. I'm not judging you and saying you don't love your child. That's not true. You just ain't thought about it in this perspective. Love that child more than you hate anything that man has done. And then realize that, you want I wanted my son to be happy. I wanted him to have a cohesive relation. Like I said, my parents they get along with people in general. And so I wanted to promote love. I didn't want him to fit, because that stuff stresses them kids out. I've seen it. It stresses them kids out. Don't do it. And I understand it gets hard, especially if you have a co-parent that ain't doing nothing, stuff like that. That's not my story. But if you can't do nothing else and you can't say nothing nice, because sometimes it is people that it ain't nothing nice to say about them. I do understand that. Like I said, I'm a very open-minded person. Don't say nothing at all. As another good, don't say nothing at all. Don't even give that person none of your energy. Talk about how wonderful this, that, and the other is. Just focus on you and that baby and what you're doing for that baby, and tell them all the things that you're going to do. And then you pray and ask God to take the rest of it, because there's only so much we can do as people.
And don't beat yourself up if it doesn't, if you didn't start out like it. Even if you started out.
I didn't start out like that. We didn't start off like that. We did not. So that was something, it changes with time. So sometimes things will get better just with time, and know that. Yeah. So it's our last question. Looking back at our friendship and your journey, what would you tell the younger version of yourself about purpose, faith, and trusting God's timing? This is beautiful.
It really is. I just made a post about that today. I literally just made a post. It said something like, God's time. When it's His time, it's time. Period. God's speed.
Wait some time. It's God's speed.
God's speed. And the reason why I say this, and I'm gonna say this, He took His time creating me. And He's taking His time with me.
Absolutely.
And as a kid, I went through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? By the time y'all met me, I was coming out of it. Okay. I was coming into myself where I went and picked on like I was. And even when I was, it was like, whatever. I started looking at my stuff and started seeing what I liked about myself. And because as a child, I had low self-esteem. Like I made a post about that. I had, because I was dark skinned, that was a thing. I don't have silk hair. I don't have silk for her.
And my hair was short.
Yeah, I have 4C hair.
Me too.
My mama did not know how to do hair. So once all my sisters was at the house,
it was real.
So anyways, it's been a lot that I had to grow into as far as walking to the beat of my drum. It did not just happen automatically. It was a lot of pain, a lot of praying, a lot of love. That's one thing I was fortunate enough to have, is a loving family.
Absolutely.
So when I was going through something, it's always, Tiffany, you are very smart. We think you smarter than us. My sisters, they'll pump me up real quick. You the smartest one
out of us. Your sisters are sweet to you. Yeah,
you the smartest one out of all of us. I love and blah, 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 blah. You the baby and you. And so, just looking, and then I love y'all. I think about our friendship when we was kids all the time, but I miss it. I know we grown.
I know.
Some of the stuff that we was doing, of course, we ain't gonna ever do again.
I know.
But the friendships do shape you, because you get to meet different people. And I know people from all walks of life. And it has helped me not to judge people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because of that. I know people in very high places. I mean, very high places. And I know people in very low places. And every day I'm still Tiffany.
Every day I'm still right. I understand.
And I don't act different around nobody.
If I know you, I'm going to speak to you.
I possess Coof anyway. Unless you take me there. I've been there. But for the most part, I'm a grown woman, and I possess, and that's how I'm going to portray myself.
Absolutely.
For me and my kids, and for anybody else that loves me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree 100%. I do. I still think about some of the moments that we had as kids, and I just smile. And all my friendships, there's not a person. We were some good people. I thank God that God gave me y'all as friends.
Couldn't nobody do nothing to us.
Couldn't nobody do nothing to us.
I remember a whole situation.
You hear me?
Where you went off on a suitor of mine.
I remember I was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got to call him in.
Yeah. So I did say because we was definitely always there for each other.
I remember because you was like, Rachel, it's okay.
Yeah, we're gonna just leave Rachel. Let's go.
And I love when I tell you I laugh because I love my friends, I love my family, I love my people. And I honestly will get angrier, more angrier and get angrier quicker with you about somebody that I love more than I will with me. Like I try to, because I don't, but somebody I love, it's like something just.
It's the empathy. It's the empathy.
Oh my goodness!
You feel for the people you care about. So how they feel, you gonna feel.
It was it's like a fire in my chest. I mean, it's a fire in my chest. I'm angry.
No.
So I'm very, like I said, I'm very overprotective of everything. When I tell you I love everything that belongs to me, I mean everything. Mm-hmm. And even if it's separate, I don't want y'all bother my people neither. You know what I'm saying? That love with me does not change. Whether we talked, ain't seen each other, that love, whatever love that I have for somebody, whatever type of the relationship is, I still have for them. And you can't bother them. Not to me be okay with it. Mm-hmm. And so I thank God that I had friendships like that because like I said, a lot of girls didn't. We was in the age group where little girls being found in the trunk because they friends and jumped them and did terrible things to them.
Yeah.
And so I thank God for each and every one of my friendships that I had then. I thank God for because it was an odd batch. Like most people don't come out of one area and go all the way to another area. Mm-hmm. But that's what I needed to do to find people, the good people that I found, and God knew that. And so he allowed that to be so. And it taught me to be okay with being friends with people all over the place, which was going to easily be my life. I have friends everywhere I go because I travel, I move around so much. I was a travel nurse. I'm a concierge nurse. Mm-hmm. I'm a float nurse now in my position. So I'm always going to be, as a friend, as a child, he was teaching me how my life was going to work. How you said you have always been a late bloomer. Mm-hmm. I've always, certain things I've always had to get used to being comfortable in new areas. Like my daddy would be at different churches or just, and that not knowing, but he was preparing me for the life that he was building me to, building for me and that I would have in my future. And like you said, I know people in very high places and I know people in very low places. I don't see them no differently. I'm going to treat them the same. I'm going to love them the same. Like you said, and that's another thing. I'm the same. If you do something disrespectful to me, I might let it slide if you catch me on the right day. Mm-hmm. If you don't catch me on the right day, it probably ain't going to be no sliding and you gonna wish you hadn't. Because that's what my daddy used to tell me when I grew up. He said, make sure they don't want to come back. So y'all want to wonder why I'm so... That's what my daddy told me. He said, make sure they don't never want to come back. Mm-hmm. And so I do what my daddy told me to do.
And you know what I learned too, and this is kind of off of this, but it's still about friendship. I learned to quit putting people on pedestals.
Yes.
That will hurt your feelings. Mm. You will not allow people to be human. You won't allow people to make mistakes. And what I just learned is having friends. I got wild friends. I got mild friends. Yeah. I got friends that's in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And people are just that. They're human.
They're human.
And they gonna do stuff. And they might do something that you might feel betrayed sometimes. Mm. But that does not mean it's not, that it can't be workable. You know when something is far gone.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, over the years, the different people that I've been friends with, the different personalities and everything, and then different perceptions and different beliefs.
Absolutely.
That's what you literally have to consider people's beliefs.
Belief system.
Because if you don't, you're not going to understand why they think it's okay, even though you don't. And you might be mad at them because they did this and they don't see anything they did wrong. And it doesn't mean they wrong. Everybody grew up with morals that was taught to them. Mm-hmm. And it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same because, and like I said, I feel blessed for the kind of mother I have because she's been a married woman since she was 16. She married my daddy when she was 16. Wow. And she married my stepfather when I was 4.
Okay.
So she gives great advice for a married woman compared to what people expect married women to say. She can still see the point of view from a single person's eye. And so when I was single and she would tell me stuff, I trusted listening to her not because she was married, but because she was married.
Because
and she
knew.
was saying this stuff to me, even though she was married, she still had some sense about it and can see it from a single person's.
Absolutely.
And that's what you have to do with friendships. When you get friendships, you have to literally see people how they was raised, and then you have to consider if that's something you want to deal with or if you can deal with. Sometimes you're not going to be able to. It does not make that person a bad person. And sometimes you can. And if you choose to, it is what it is. And hopefully they can learn from you and you can learn from them, because it ain't nobody that you can't learn from.
I agree.
Nobody.
100%.
I don't care if they the most
That's
ignorant.
what my daddy always said.
Yeah, I don't care if they the most ignorant or the most intelligent. You can learn from anybody something. And like I said, because you let my 10-year-old tell it, he knows more than everybody. And we have to tell him all the time, boy, you are very intelligent, but it's a lot you gonna learn.
Says my son.
So yeah.
But I completely agree with that. Like I always say that pretty much anything is you can learn anything from anybody, and most things are fixable. And how you can fix them is you think about, like, you have to be able to look at different perspectives. Now you're deciding if this is something that you want to fix, if it's something you want to get along, you want to try to work through with this, whatever, whether it's a romantic relationship or friendship. And you have it right to decide either way. If it breaks your peace, nah.
Right.
If you okay with it and it doesn't really bother your peace, because there's something I always say, what you can put up with, I might not can put up with, and what I can put up with, you might not be able to put up with.
Right.
But we were built differently. Like you said, we were raised differently. We see things differently. We understand things differently. And we're all built to take on whatever journey that has been assigned to us. And that makes us that way. And so I completely agree with you. What I also appreciated about what you said is about your mother and the advice that she gives about marriage. A lot of times people don't tell you that, like if everything's not perfect, this, that, and the other. And the truth of the matter is stuff is not going to be perfect.
It's definitely not
y'all going to have to go through some stuff.
That's
y'all going to have to
dream.
Yeah,
it's a hoop dream to think it's going to be perfect.
Y'all going to have to work through some stuff. And I'd rather have something that is solid and we done been through some stuff, so I know we can get through some stuff, than somebody that's like fly by night. You know, they can't take nothing, I can't take nothing. We gonna get through it. If I love you and you love me, everything else,
and we want to do,
and
this,
we respect each other, we decide we gonna do this. That's what we gonna do.
Because people are quick to be, well, if
they
it
quick
was
to
me,
do it. If it was me, but it's not. But it's not.
It's not. And you don't know the people for real. You don't know what they went through. You don't know what they did to work on to make their stuff back right. I say it all the time about mine. Because like I said, it was a whole fiasco of mine. You know what I'm saying? And then people, you know, I see people plenty of times all the time, ain't no way I'm going to be able to be with somebody after coming to Facebook. And like I say all the time, what make y'all think Facebook is so much different from everybody already knowing? Everybody already know what's the difference.
Here's my thing. A lot of people go do that. It was just on Facebook. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. The people that you talking to already knows this.
Yeah, and they done been through it.
And I'm like, that's an ego issue.
That's an ego issue.
That's an ego issue because if you can work on it, Facebook shouldn't be what's determining if you can. You brought it to Facebook. Well, so what? I could have brought it to you in the store. I could have brought it to you on the street and everybody was out there seeing it. What's the difference? It's not a difference. If you feel like it's something that could be worked on and fixable, and you're going to be happy, because at the end of the day,
you're going to be happy.
You have to live your life for you, not for nobody else. And it doesn't matter what nobody thinks. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake, because guess what?
Absolutely.
Everything you do in life is a risk.
Absolutely.
So say, for instance, you have a bad relationship. Maybe you don't want to try to work it out. And you meet somebody else and you dead next week. But they possess all the good nature, everything that you want, it seems. It happens all the time. I watch ID channel every day, me and my husband. It happens every day. People be with somebody that wasn't right for them.
For too
long. Then they go and meet somebody else and they a whole dream. And then the next night they dead. And it's like, so and then you have to really, really consider the battles people go through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
And that's the thing. Perspective matters. And my perspective toward the person that I love is different than your perspective. And then when I love you, I love you. So I'm gonna try to work with you, because like you said, you could be perfect in this area, but that don't interest me. That's not what I care about. But all the other areas that I really care about, you're perfect in those areas.
Yeah.
We are the same in those areas.
And
we agree.
For that reason alone, and we can make this work.
And for that reason alone, I'm not gonna let this one little thing, this one
Whatever we're going
characteristics,
through, yeah.
stop what we got going on. And that's how I feel. I completely feel that. Because, you know what? I always say, everybody else is doing what they want to do. Don't be mad for me and me doing what I want to do.
Because
you hear
guess
me?
what? If it was them, they going to do
They going to do what they want to do.
And that's what I told Ramon. I said, you know what? I got to the point where I don't really give too much advice about relationships. I said, because a person's going to do what they want to do. I said, you don't see me get on Facebook talking about, I ain't going to do this, I ain't this. I said, I done been there and done that. I said, and guess what I got? A nasty foot in my mouth.
You hear me?
That's what I got.
I told my little girl, I said, baby, everybody plays the fool once or twice.
Man.
When it comes to love, everybody plays the fool up once or twice. Yeah. And what you do, and love is just a risk. And so if you want it, you're going to have to take that risk. You're going to have to take that leap. You're going to have to take that jump.
And sometimes you got to change things about yourself.
And you got to change. You got to work on things about yourself.
If happening that ain't going your way in a relationship and you don't like it, sometimes you got to put your foot down. You got to let a person know that you're not dealing with that. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And if they still want to be with you, they're going to fix it.
They're going to fix it. If they want to be with you, they're going to fix it. And I'm the same way. Like, there are certain things about me that if you let me know, if I don't care nothing about you, I don't really want to hear nothing about it. And I ain't ask you nothing. But if you tell me I'm one of them people when I love you, which I don't really, I don't really love that many people, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm a relationship girly, but at the same time, it's very hard for me to connect to somebody. So when I connect to them, when I connect with somebody, they really do mean something to me. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, and then I'm like blinders. Like, I really don't care about nothing else but that person. Mm-hmm. If I care about you to that extent, then if you ask me and you bring it to me that you want me to change it, of course I'll change it for you because I care about you. You mean you're a priority enough in my life because I do that with anybody else that I love. If you let me know something, even in friendship, Rachel, I don't really care how you do this. Cool, we gonna fix it.
Because we done had words, me and Rachel, because we got strong personalities. We both have strong personalities, but at the end of the day, we've always been able to work it out. I love Rachel. Rachel is so upbeat. She has always been like this. This is not nothing different. She's always been like this big old smile. That's why I always loved about you when we was kids. You see, Rachel, you know what Crystal told me? This is when we was teenagers. Okay. You remember, how I greet people? I'm always happy to see people.
Yes, you are.
And it started making her mad. Ooh. Not because of how I was being, because of the response I was getting. Oh. She would be like, Tiffany, you so happy to see people. You smile. You could tell you genuinely. Yeah, you're a genuine person. People. She was like, and then they just be like, hi. And it's bland. She said, I want you to stop doing that. I said, I can't, Crystal.
I don't let them change who I am.
I said, I can't do it. I said, but I do know what you're saying. But when I recognized it, I did kind of change how I am with some people because it's like, why am I giving you all this energy? I can give this to somebody that want it. I'm going to say hi. I'm always going to be polite. But I did change a little bit the happiness that I would be to see anybody.
Excitedness.
If I knew you.
That's how I am. If I know you, I'm always
that's what I know. And that's why I love you. That's what I'm saying. That's why I've always loved you because you're not a mean person. You're a good person.
I appreciate you. Yeah. Look, and it's nice to find people that like you. And that's what I say. I thank God for everything He's gave me because it's a like when you hunt for the good, and God tells you there's more better days than there are sad days, hunt for the good. On your worst days, and when you can't find, say, God, help me to see it. And when I tell you, He'll give you something because he said if you seek Him, if you ask, because that's what seek means. If you ask, He will show you.
Yeah, He's been listening to me a lot lately.
You hear me? And so those little thoughts, and He likes when you're closer to Him. You're not going to get on God's nerves. Sometimes He'll just give you a problem because He wants you to come on back. And when He wants you to come on back, that's because it's time for more. He ain't one thing I love about God, He ain't never tell you get closer to Him and He ain't got nothing to offer you. He got more for you. And that's what, one thing I heard Sarah Jake say is that God doesn't move you and then prepare you. He prepares you and then He moves you.
That's where faith comes in.
And that's where faith comes in.
That's where faith comes in.
So I want to thank Tiffany for coming on the show today. This has been one of the funnest conversations I've had. I love it. And like I said, some people, their little spirits, it just bubbles through right through the screen. It bubbles through. Like I'm an energetic person, so I feed off of my guests' energy a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And you see what type of energy Tiffany brings out of me, like a happy-go-lucky baby girl that I used to be. And so I thank God for that. I wish you success, which I already know you're going to be successful. It's a journey, but all you got to do is not stop. That's what I heard somebody say. They say, you're going to be successful. The only thing you have to do to be successful is just don't quit.
That's
So
true. That is so that's so absolutely true.
so I know you gonna be successful. I'm not hoping that on you. But I wish it to be a peaceful journey.
Thank you. I appreciate
and I can't wait to see all the things that God has for you and all the things you can. And I can't wait till you write it because I know for one that I'll be reading it.
Well, thank you.
And so y'all know anything Tiff got going on, y'all know how I do. I will be putting it on the line. So y'all go ahead and interact. I don't know what y'all doing with these interactions. Y'all always say y'all want good stuff and good material. When people are putting it out, y'all don't want to interact. If you look at the post, hit the like button. It don't take nothing.
That's it.
Why do y'all want to just sit there and scroll and do nothing? I've never really understood people who do things without a purpose. I'm not going to scroll through people's material and like it and just not hit the like button.
Well, I know in content creating, one of the things they say that you should do is engage and not skip posts.
Okay.
I was already like it.
I'm already like that.
I've already be liking people's posts and going down and just trying to say something. That was just me before, which is why I always thought that's why they asked me to do it, because I was already
chatty.
Yeah. So I'm like, shoot, I'm talking on everybody's stuff. It gets me through my day. So, and then when I found, content creating became a thing, then I really started even more. I'm already stars on people's stuff. Everything. It's just the support. Like, support's free, especially
support is free.
Facebook support is the easiest. All you gotta do is like you said,
like a post.
People would not do it sometimes, and that's fine too.
And then it sometimes it shows you where people are. But what I will tell you is you gonna need help in something that you doing. So go ahead and if it's all you got to do is like a post, you like that post and go on. And then negativity always gets more notoriety than positive stuff. And if y'all want to see something done differently, the only way to see that done differently is by how you do, because social media literally is an algorithm. Whatever you interact with most, whatever you like most, and whatever you share most, that's what they're going to pay attention to. So that's the way you can support any content creator. I love you all, and until the next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Have a good one.